What's up, everyone, and welcome into episode number 508, where it is my honor and privilege to introduce a special guest joining this episode, and that is LCC catcher Kaiden Kappa. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining. You're the second Kappa to join. I know your older brother just joined, I think, like a year or two ago. Now he's at
Yeah.
Virginia, so obviously really happy for him, but glad you're able to join. And just how's things going at LCC?
Yeah, everything's going great. Program's nice. I'm very excited to see what the spring will bring this year. So
So just how did the fall go? Obviously, I know you're excited for like the games, kind of. You guys did scrimmages, stuff like that. Obviously, the spring is when the true test comes in, record wise, stuff like that. But just
yeah,
how was fall baseball at LCC?
yeah. For me, I'd say the fall went very well. I had a lot of great things with my stat wise, but then also not only personally but team wise, we did very well. We broke some records. We won about 13 out of the 22 games, and we
Okay.
played some solid competition. Saw some nice pitching. We went down to the Puma. We won a game and tied one, which is there's a lot of scouts and great competition down there. So yeah.
How is it playing that competition, especially now that you're kind of transitioning from high school to college to the community college level? Because you're a freshman, so was that a little bit of a rough beginning, or was it more of just like, hey, like I accept this challenge and I'm looking forward to it?
Yeah, so to start off the year, we kind of eased into it. We played a few travel teams to basically get back in the swing of things. Then we started playing the harder competition. Then that's when things started to like even out. But as we started getting back in the swing of things, I'd say I got the hang of things pretty well. There was I started out very hot, then I started to plateau a little bit. Things started to get, very decent, then started to I ended out the fall I said pretty well. So
What does that do to your confidence starting out as hat as you did, especially kind of getting to the college baseball level for the first time? That has to be a pretty not only cool feeling, but it has to make you feel like, hey, like I actually do belong.
yeah, so my I'd say I hit my first college home run like my second game. So that was definitely a confidence booster to like my swing. Then as my confidence was high, I kept on doing very well. Went into the Puma. I had a double and like an inside the park home run there. So it got me some looks, and my confidence remained high throughout the fall. And I feel like as the whole team was performing pretty well, that the whole team had some high confidence.
Do you think it was the bat that kind of grew that confidence? I know you really started to truly talk about how you got off to a fast start. The bat got the first college home run in the game, number two. But as a catcher, like it's kind of both sides of the
Mhm.
play. It's obviously the catching portion, but also the hitting portion as well.
Yeah, for sure. The bat definitely helps with confidence, but also I feel defensively, as long as I'm making the right plays and everything's running smoothly as according to plan, that the confidence will stay there. So as long as they're working hand in hand and nothing's like doing bad, then the confidence should stay there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And confidence is obviously a really important thing. But what was kind of the transition like from high school to college, especially as a baseball player when focusing not only on like the other pitchers, like hitting wise, but just how different is in the plate, but also catching as well? I'm sure you guys probably have maybe quite a few bit more accurate pitchers. So maybe that makes your job a little bit easier behind the plate. But then there's also the fact that these are the best of the best pitchers, and these are guys that are looking to obviously go D1, D2, D3 after this.
for sure. So, the transition from high school and college was definitely pretty big, I'd say, because coming from a decently sized, smaller like Division 1 high school, I'd say the team wasn't always the best. We were okay, but we were never like a team that would do any type of runs in the playoffs. We
Okay.
had some players that were great, and some players that weren't the best, but they weren't bad at all, I'd say.
Yeah.
We were just a bunch of like there was just a bunch of low level travel kids, but uh it was definitely a big transition from both pitching staffs where I was catching normally about 70 miles per hour. Then hitting wise, I was facing probably about like low 80s on a day-to-day basis, maybe high 70s. So then, the transition from high school to college, because college from the low 70s to now I'm catching about mid to low 90s,
Okay.
like everybody. So that was big. Everyone, got their different pitches. Usually, everyone in high school they got their changeup, fastball, curveball, the
Yeah.
traditional stuff. Then now we got people with sinkers. They got cutters. Whatever we got knuckleball or whatever they may throw now. But
Yeah.
um, that's definitely was a big transition. Then not only that, but now we're facing kids that are throwing low to mid 90s as well. So with all types of pitches as well, it's different. Also, we're not getting walked as much. You kind of gotta hit your way on these days,
Yeah.
in this level. So
Yeah, because everyone's going to probably be around the strike zone. Like you really
yeah,
truly have to kind of understand not only what the strike zone is, but obviously behind the plate you have to understand the ump, like what they're looking for, how to steal strikes. Like it's obviously a lot more involved, but is it fun kind of going up against and catching pitchers that have more like off speed pitches like knuckleballs, kind of stuff like that?
yeah.
Or was that, like, kind of a little intimidating at first, not seeing kind of those typical pitchers that you're used to? For every pitcher, obviously, there's some pitchers that do throw knuckleballs, curveballs, stuff like that, but there's some pitchers that are a little bit unique, like you said.
Yeah, there's definitely a challenge that I like. I like the challenge. I feel like having competitive at bats is key, and
Yeah.
it's fun. So it keeps it entertaining, and I you know yeah,
Probably never gets boring.
yeah, exactly. It's fun.
Yeah. So being a freshman going into LCC, did you truly expect to kind of contribute right away? Because I know in the fall, you were playing quite a bit of catcher in the scrimmages. Like you were kind of like the main guy. Like, was that kind of like something you expected, or was it something that you kind of just worked yourself into?
Well, I would say yeah that we had no returning catchers coming back. Then we had four incoming.
Okay.
And I would definitely say I was I came here to play, so I
Yeah.
was expecting to definitely play the games about at least most of the time. So
Yeah.
and I know my skill set, and I know where I want to be. So I'd say I expected to play a decent amount, and I know myself, so I know I'd make an impact to hopefully win the team some games, and I feel like I definitely did my role.
Yeah, absolutely. And there has to be kind of the expectation, or at least goal, to go into like wanting to play, wanting to contribute right away, which you obviously did. But going through that, like, what have you just like kind of like learned about yourself a little bit? How have you just improved as a catcher and hitting wise since you arrived to LCC? Because obviously you're probably a little bit of your old self, but there's probably still quite a bit of improvement that you went through just in that short little fall.
Yeah, so I definitely learned not to get too comfortable because not everything's going to be easy, and sometimes you
Yeah.
got to go through some tough times to become better. And since becoming an LCC as a catcher, I've trying to improve on my throw downs. You know, try not to rush or make anything huge happen. Just getting the ball out fast and accurately to bases. You know, not trying to make too many mistakes, and just slowing the game down. Because sometimes my older self, like in high school, especially with the cat or the pitchers, they didn't really slide step and they didn't throw hard enough to where I felt like I'd have to get the ball out quick and rush
Yeah.
the throw and get it out as fast as I can. So I feel like definitely with these pitchers and coming here, I'm able to slow the game down, and that all comes with maturing behind the plate and trusting your pitcher a little bit more to make a throw and hold the runners and help you out.
Exactly, and how do you kinda handle, like, obviously, like you talked about, like, not letting the pressure get to you, but also not feeling comfortable? Because when some people might feel not comfortable, they might speed things up, which then you were talking about, like, "Hey, like, I don't wanna speed things up, I wanna kinda get to a point of, like, slowing the game down." Like, is that kind of like a balance you've had to kinda learn a little bit of not feeling comfortable, but also realizing, like, "Hey, I can't let this speed me up, or again, it gets a little uncomfortable and you might not play as much."
Yes, I've definitely tried to focus mainly on like my breathing, like grounding, just like you're only where your feet are, so you
Yeah.
you can't you can't go much faster than that. You can't speed the game up. The game's just gonna, that's when it's gonna all eat you up. So
Yeah, and then obviously as you play more, once you kinda get into the spring, I'm sure the more practice, the more games you play, kinda the easier, more kind of in a groove that you truly will get, and probably you won't have to really truly think about, like, "Oh, like, who's behind me?" or, "Hey, don't throw too
mhm,
fast," or, "Don't let yourself get too fast." It's probably something that
yeah,
you're seeing growth in yourself every single day.
for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. So I do have one question. Obviously, I know that you're a catcher. We'll kind of get into just how that started, just kind of work your way back up to LCC. I know we've talked a little bit about LCC, but being a catcher, do you think every baseball player should at least play it once in their life, in their career? Or do you think it's not something that people should at least try? Or you don't think that they can because it takes a specific person to do it?
Yeah, I would say being a catcher is definitely something everyone should try out at least once in their life. So maybe it's in little league or it's an but it's an experience everyone must have unless you're a lefty. I feel because lefties, everything's just a little awkward. It's possible, everything's possible, but being a lefty, it's definitely it's tough. But this is because you never know unless you try, because
Yeah.
having a catcher, being a catcher, you can learn a lot mentally and physically, but this position will take a lot of toughness and patience as well because nobody will be great at it immediately. So, but it's going to take time to learn and develop, and to be a great at it, it's going to take a lot of drive and passion if you're going to be any decent. So,
Have you ever seen a lefty catcher before?
I actually have in high school. We played both my junior and senior year. We played teams where just one game there was a lefty catcher. It looked he was not bad, but it was just it was odd. It was definitely uncommon to be a lefty catcher.
I was just gonna say, it probably had to throw you off a little bit. You're like,
Yeah.
you don't see that very often.
No, not at all.
So obviously you're not a lefty catcher, but like when did you know like, hey, the position was meant for you?
Yeah, I knew around the age of 12 years old. Because like I went to this team, Motor City Hit Dogs, and we had a kid recently who had quit, and they were trying kids out, and they picked me as one of the catchers. They were trying out, and I guess they liked me, and I just started catching at practice more often. And I ever since I started, I kind of like calm games. Working with the
Yeah.
pitchers. I love the toughness and like blocking balls and everything. I love being involved with the pitches or like each pitch every game. So I would say that that's when I probably realized.
So you did say they were trying like kids, like specific kids. Like, did you like volunteer? Did they just kind of like just pick kids and
Yeah, they
you're
kind of
gonna try catching?
yeah they kind of just pulled me aside, put me in some gear, and I just started catching off the machine. And I just kept on catching every practice since I was 12.
Did you ever imagine yourself being a catcher prior to that point?
Yeah, I would say when I was younger, I kind of would always beg to coach to give me a game behind the dish. I caught some games here and there. I was kind of primary third base, a little second shortstop as well, but I knew I would always love to be a catcher, and I felt like if they ever put me behind the dish, that they'd never put me, they'd never take me away from that position, which I feel like I stood true on that.
So basically, it was almost kind of like meant for you. It just was one of
Yeah,
those things that just happened a little bit later than maybe you
yeah,
wanted it to.
for sure. Yeah, I was definitely itching to be a catcher one day.
So because of that itch and wanting to be a catcher, like, did you enjoy it right away? Like, did it kind of make the transition from third base to catcher pretty easy, or was it a little bit of something like, hey, like maybe this isn't as fun as I thought it was, and then you finally eventually got to that point?
Well, I loved it. It was new to me. I had a lot to learn. I had a catching coach, Harrison Winston. He taught me a lot since I was 12. I still work with him to this day, but there's always something new about the position. It never gets old, I feel. There's always something to do being a
Yeah.
catcher and to learn. You never know everything.
How huge has it been to be working with the same coach since you truly started the position? Because you don't see that very often of kind of
Mhm.
working with the same guy for the last probably 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, he definitely knows me pretty well. He knows my strengths and my weaknesses. He knows what to look for and how to make me better, and he can be honest with me. We have that connection where we can text and call each other and really talk to each other. I'll send him videos, and he'll let me know what he sees, and he'll let me know what I need to work on to get better.
If you were to ask him, what do you think his answer would be for your strengths and weaknesses currently?
I'd say my strengths would be. I think he would say that's a tough question because I feel like he's always trying to
Or
make
what would
everything
you
better.
say? What would you
That's
say is
He's
your
trying to make
strengths and
everything better.
weaknesses?
But personally, I feel like I have a great arm because I feel like I throw down pretty well. Then I feel like my blocking has been pretty well. I can get
Okay.
to some things most guys won't get to. Then my weaknesses, definitely just like not trying to rush things, not trying to
Yeah.
stab at it when I'm trying to like make a transfer because that'll make things slower. Then also like on my step is just not making too big of a step as well. So
Yeah, like you said, there's little things here and there that can
yeah,
obviously improve things, like improve pop time. Like that's a real thing that a lot of catchers kind of like focus on or pride themselves
yeah,
on. Obviously, arm strength is another thing. Blocking is another thing. Like there's so many things like you talked about that kind of goes into it that sometimes you spend probably more time actually catching, blocking than hitting. And I know some catchers would probably say I would like to hit a little bit more, but there's just so much
yeah,
that goes into the position.
right.
So we talked a little bit about your strengths, about your weaknesses. You mentioned blocking, and this is where I kind of want to get into a little bit more of like What are some things that, like, you enjoy about being a catcher, and just what are some things that you don't? Because a lot of people might say, "Hey, blocking isn't necessarily something that I enjoy as much because it takes a toll, like, physically, mentally." Like, where are you at with that? Just what are some things that you enjoy, and maybe some things that you don't enjoy as much, but you have to do as a catcher?
Yeah, kinda like I said earlier, like, for pros, I would say, toughness. I love, sometimes like, wearing pitches kinda feels great, you know?
Yeah,
Well, being involved in every pitch, I like being involved. I feel like make me making an impact in the game makes me feel, like, great that I can help, uh, turn wins into losses sometimes. Then I also love, like, the feeling of just, like, throwing out runners, making game-saving blocks and, stuff like that.
yeah,
I'd say, like, for cons, there's not many cons because you kinda really gotta love everything that comes with it, or you're not really gonna like it, but just, because errors comes to everyone, so I would say just, like, the feeling of, like, missing a block, the just feeling bad for your pitcher whenever you're not helping him out, and,
yeah.
it never feels great when you, you miss a block or something, so you're always trying to help the guy out, and
Yeah.
whenever I'm not helping him out, then it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, because then you kind of feel like it belongs on you a little bit,
You're
like, you need to
Yeah,
help him out, he needs to help you out, right?
yeah, it's
There's
the
that
accountability,
connection.
you gotta wear it.
Yeah. Would you say either throwing a guy out at first or second is a better feeling than back picking a guy at first? Or, like, what's the greatest feeling for you as a catcher? Because you did mention throwing a guy out is definitely up there, but, like, would you rather back pick someone at first or third or throw someone out at second?
Yeah, you know, I'd say back picks just because catching the kid sleeping and being able to get him and make all their coaches, get mad at him because whenever he gets thrown out second, that's obviously the kid's fault, but also the
Yeah.
coach's fault too for sending him to steal there. But yeah, back picks are a little more uncommon, and I'd say that's always a great feeling when you're catching a kid sleeping and he's getting a little cocky over there on his lead.
Yeah. Have you back picked a guy at LCC yet?
No, I can't. I don't know. I can't remember if I picked the kid over on a back pick this year yet, but I definitely have a few kids I've caught stealing at the second and third.
Hey, you're doing your job, right? Like,
Right.
that's your goal is to nail him down and get the
Yeah.
guy off of the bases.
Yeah. Normally they don't get too cocky whenever I'm catching. They normally kind of keep an eye on me.
It's one of those things that if one person tries and you throw him out, there's probably be like, "Oh, this kid
Yeah.
has a little bit of an
Yeah.
arm, like, maybe watch out." Like, maybe don't have, your average runner run on him.
Yeah, right. Not getting yeah, like they should be watching the throw downs in between innings and now.
I was just gonna say that has to be, like, the best feeling, like, a little bit of, like, mutual respect that they won't, like, run on you
Yeah.
because they realize, like, if they do, there's a real chance that that doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously, you enjoy catcher, you enjoy kind of the game management part of it, you kind of enjoy all of it. If your coach would ever ask you to like switch position or be a PO, because it seems like catchers, if they do switch position, kind of goes to pitchers because most catchers have a really good arm, or maybe outfield. I know sometimes outfield just because of their arm. Would you ever make the switch, or are you too set on a catcher for LCC and wherever you go next?
Yeah, I would say probably not. I could definitely throw hard on the mound. I've done it before. Not really in high school, but I've tried it a few times. I actually used to be a pitcher when I was younger. I used to pitch a lot before I started catching, but it's really hard to do both at the same time, especially just because all the wear and tear in your arm. But personally, I feel like my strongest suit is like my bat. I don't think
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself not swinging a bat, ever again. And just coming to practice and just to throw, you know.
Do you think that would get a little boring for you if you didn't get to hit at all?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I feel like I just don't know what I could do without swinging a baseball bat. I
Yeah.
to be honest, yeah. I feel like even after I stopped playing, that I feel like I'd still be in the cages trying to get my swing down.
Hey, you know what? You can spend a ton of time in the cages. There's probably people that still do that even after they're done playing, but you obviously enjoy both catching and hitting. Which would
Mhm.
you say is your favorite? Like, if you had to pick one, like, would you say the catching aspect of baseball, or would you say, like, get me next to the plate and let me hit a home run?
Yeah, yeah. I would, I spend a lot of time doing both. I got trainers for both. I train with Harrison, and I hit with this guy Devin Hart. He's a great guy,
Yeah.
knows his stuff really well, but between the two, I feel like I said earlier, I could never see me dropping my bat, so I would definitely say my bat for sure, just because of how much I like it, and the feeling of your high exit velo swings, and just barreling bat to ball, just is it's a great feeling.
Yeah, because guess what? A bat plays at every single level, right? Like if
Mhm.
you have a good bat, if you have a good swing, if you hit for power, if you hit for average, it's going to play. And it's one of those things that even as a catcher, like you don't see a ton of catchers that are more offensive or more hitting, but if you can do that itself and still play good defense, that's going to be a very like highly like looked at kind of player and you seem to
Yeah,
enjoy both aspects of that.
yeah. The hitting definitely is what gets you to the next level for sure.
Yeah, but also great defense is important as
Mhm.
well. If you're not great
Yeah.
defensively, then they're probably going to be like, "Hey, maybe let's put you at first or third."
Yeah, you always want the pitcher to love pitching you, so that definitely makes impact on the pitching staff for sure.
Yeah, and obviously you probably spend quite a bit of time with the pitching staff. Obviously, you spend quite a bit of time
Mhm.
hitting as well, but I want to kind of get into a little bit more of just kind of like preparation, kind of just getting ready for the games. What is it like kind of suiting up as like a catcher, like going into a game, going into practice, and just how like does your mindset switch when you end up putting on the gear? Like is it just kind of like a complete like 180 where your mindset just completely like turns and you're like, hey, like let's just go, or does it not really work necessarily like that?
Yeah, I'm definitely for sure. Right when I wake up in the morning, I'm ready to rock. I get my energy drink. I take my smelling salts. I get the adrenaline pumping, and I make sure I go out on that field every time, and I make sure everyone feels the energy that I bring, because especially as a catcher, I feel, just even just a little like fist bump, like air pump at the pitcher after
Yeah.
every strikeout, or a nice pitch that they make, every spot that they hit. I've definitely heard some positive things from the pitching staff, from the energy that I bring, and just by like pumping them up when they're about to like get a strikeout. So I definitely try and bring the energy to help out the team.
And speaking of like bringing in energy in the team, what is it like playing at LCC? Because I know your coach, Coach Cutter, he
Yeah.
has like specific things that like you guys do. Like you don't take elevators, you take the stairs.
Yeah.
There's specific kind of
Never
like
seen the
mindset
stairs.
things that he
Mhm.
truly approaches and wants to kind of build into you guys.
Yeah, so he takes mental toughness to the next level, but for the team, buying in is a huge thing that we preach at Lansing, because the whole team needs to work together, buying in, as we all have the same goal to play at Enid, Oklahoma for the College World Series, and
Yeah.
hopefully end up winning it all, and getting a ring. But we also preach, like I said, mentioned earlier, the word uncommon, because being uncommon is like they're the hardest workers, and they never get complacent, and which is the best way to become the best version of yourself. Another thing too that he loves is honesty. Not only just being honest with your coaches, but being and your teammates, but being honest with yourself. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's important to hold yourself accountable, because that's the key to getting better and not becoming complacent with your current self.
And when you talk about like being uncommon, being honest with yourselves,
Hmm.
do those like characteristics and kind of those like building blocks that he tries to set make it so much easier to not only kind of like buy into what he's preaching, but to also like grow chemistry as
Hmm.
well? Because if you all believe in that and you all are honest, you all are uncommon, you're doing the same type of things, it's probably easier to not only build that chemistry, but to get off to a faster start in the season when maybe other teams are still trying to build it, but you guys are kind of
Yeah.
set on those specific mindset, those specific goals, those specific approaches.
Yeah, so we do these leadership meetings every week on Tuesdays, and we even do baseball classes every week on Fridays. But I feel like it's huge to the program and building chemistry and really just making everyone on the same page. And because we're all, it's kind of like it kind of brings after every like meeting on the Tuesdays. Just feel like different when I walk out. We got our journals, we take notes. It's just like the stuff that he preaches and he tell us really like it will really set in my mind, and it like kind of changes your life and the way you
Yeah.
like view everything, and especially I feel like it kind of makes you a little bit more mature, and especially in like the way you think.
Do you think that's what kind of makes LCC baseball stand out? Because you see like how much success LCC has had like the last like few years. Like it seems like it's been like 10 plus years where you're seeing LCC win a ton of games. You're seeing LCC go to the World Series. I know one thing that it truly seems like you guys are continuing to do is accept and bring in technology, trying to figure out ways to evolve that as well. Do you think those are truly why kind of LCC has become the baseball program it has been, and kind of the expectations, like you said, are going to the World Series?
Yeah, definitely we have standards here, and Coach Cutter and Coach Mo, they definitely brings a legacy, and the way they have did this program since they've been here has been positive. They give back to the community and like our field. They always put in a ton of effort and all their time, and they just put it all back into us. And we definitely push to focus on development each day as we push each other to become better, especially as teammates too. As far as team chemistry goes too, I'd say that we have a super strong team bond, as we spend tons of time together each day. We it helps especially because majority of us all living together in like the same apartment space.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously spending a lot of time with each other, not only in practice, but like meetings outside of practice, stuff like that. That not only obviously helps you guys succeed, but it helps you grow as individuals, grow as baseball players, and probably have you guys wanting to play better and wanting to achieve specific goals, not only for yourself, but for the team as well.
for sure, yeah.
And speaking of those things, like what are your guys's like goals? Like, do you have any individual goals? Do you have any team goals? I know you mentioned the
Hmm.
World Series, going to win the World Series, hopefully get a ring. Outside of that, is that kind of just like the main goal that you guys have?
Yeah, so we all have the team goal to play in Eden, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Hopefully win a ring, Division 2 JUCO. But also a personal goal, I feel it's very uncommon, but I feel like I could do it, which is win an All-American. I feel it's definitely possible, but it's definitely uncommon as well as a freshman, especially. But yeah, that's for sure. what's been on my mind lately.
But that's also something that if you do reach your goals of wanting to play often, and if you do play well, if you do get off to a fast start, that is a possibility. And if doing that, then you'll get obviously more chances outside of LCC because obviously it seems like you enjoy LCC, you are happy to be there. But
Yeah,
everyone that is at LCC, their goal is beyond LCC. Like the goal is to be a Division 1, D2, D3 baseball player. Like you probably love it. You want to obviously help them out, but if you have to admit, it's obviously like the goal for everyone there is to go eventually to another team. That's what community college does, and I feel
mhm,
like LCC is one of those programs that you see a ton of players kind of do that pretty often.
yeah, I'm definitely more so worried about the team right now and,
Yeah,
what I can do to help the team and, whatever happens beyond LCC is, that whatever that's in like a year or two, so that'll all come, but I'm definitely worried on what I can control,
yeah,
and whoever recruits me, that's beyond my control, and it's just, I mean, obviously I can control like some things, like in my performance and how I carry myself, but
yeah.
if they like me, they like me. I'm more so worried on, like I said, helping the team out and trying to win games and go to Eden.
Yeah, absolutely, which is obviously the biggest goal of them all, the biggest main thing everyone want to do is
Right.
win a championship. And hopefully you are able to achieve those goals. And I kind of want to wrap it up here with two last questions just before we end it here. But like what has playing baseball and just playing catcher taught you about yourself and how has it shaped you as a person?
Yeah, so definitely this is something I learned from coming here from Coach Cutter. He says a lot that also applies to baseball, and being a catcher, which has a big thing is everything is temporary. He explains how we live in a law of the thirds, where the
Okay.
thirds are great, average, and tough. These emphasize the fact that we all go through each third throughout a daily living, but
Yeah.
each one of those are temporary. And because you're not going to have a great day every day, but you're also not going to be bad every day. You're
Yeah.
gonna have some off days, but those days are always gonna be temporary. It's
Yeah.
all
And it's
it's
about
all
getting
just
better on those
yeah.
off days
It's
too.
all it's all about how you respond.
Yeah, because you're gonna have failure in baseball, right? Like you're gonna fail more times than you succeed. It's about how you respond. It's about how you get better. It's about how you improve every single day. And obviously, you learn that in baseball, but that's something that you do in life as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So, one last kind of question. We'll wrap up here. If someone is going to play baseball, but they aren't sure exactly what to play, why should they play catcher? Like what are your best not advice, but what are your best like pitches to them and saying, "Hey, one, definitely play baseball, and two, if you do, why play the position that you play?"
Yeah, like I say this word a lot, but catchers are uncommon. We're tough. We're mentally tough. We're not, and we're also physically tough. We're the hardest workers on the team most of the time, and it's just when you're a catcher, you want the ball every time, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be involved. And being a catcher is the best way to make an impact on the game, and help your guys out.
Exactly, and you can definitely tell kind of the buy-in that you had because you've used the word uncommon quite a bit, and
Hmm.
I know that's a big word at LCC is uncommon. You can just kinda see how you're bought in and just kind of implementing what they're saying. I think that's really cool just because of how short of a time you've been and just probably how easy it is to buy in because it's one of those things that, like, you either buy in or you don't. And I feel like that's been one of the coolest things and one of the leading success factors for LCC is kind of the buy-in that people have had. And you can definitely tell that you're bought in, that you're excited, and that you're ready to get going.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm definitely excited. I'm excited for everything, especially for what this spring is gonna bring. I'm definitely bought in, so is the team. We're gonna jump into this year with a chip on our shoulder for sure. We got a special, group of guys who I feel like are hungry. Especially from, just being one game short from going to Enid last
Yeah.
year. So we're definitely coming in this year more bought in, and since coming here, I feel like it's been definitely changed a lot of things on how I view just becoming a little bit more mature and just being more team first instead of all about me.
Yeah, and like you said, that's like maturity, that's wanting to reach the goals that you wanna achieve, and you realize that, hey, you're just a small part of a team to hopefully get to the goals that you wanna achieve as a team, because if you achieve your individual goals and everyone achieves their individual goals, but you don't achieve a team goal,
Yeah.
what's the point? Like, it's obviously gonna help you, but, like, if you get to the World Series, guess what? There's gonna probably be quite a few players that eventually achieve their
Yeah.
individual goals.
And we've done it before, and we have a athletic group of guys, and we have potential. We have a lot of potential. It just depends on our actions and you know what we do with our potential.
Absolutely, and I know that Coach Carter, I know that you guys are gonna have a great year. I know you guys are gonna obviously go through ups and downs, happens in baseball all the time, but I think at the end of the day, I think you'll definitely see not only LCC at the top of their standings, but hopefully eventually competing in Eden, and maybe, you never know, once you get there, you can win it, and then there you go, you achieved your goal, but I really appreciate you joining, really hope this was worth your time. Hope you had fun. I definitely did. Definitely learned a lot about you, but appreciate you joining.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And one thing I always say to anyone that ever joins is if you ever want to come back on, would absolutely love to have you back on. No pressure whatsoever to do so. But like I said earlier, good luck this year. Good luck to you guys as a team overall. Really hope you achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And yeah, really appreciate you joining. And yeah, that's a wrap to episode number 508. Thank you again to Kaiden for joining and tune in to the next episode.